Y'all doing?
Ready, set, go.
Hey,
Good evening, Malcolm Banks.
good evening. How you doing?
It's a pleasure to meet you, bro.
Happy to meet you too.
It's talk right into the
Oh,
end of that
sorry,
thing. It's
yeah.
all right, man. So like this is the first time we've met.
Yeah.
I've been like kind of like Facebook friends with you for I guess a year now. But do you remember how we originally got connected? I told you I was going to tell this story.
We originally got connected. We sell Christmas trees, Fraser
Yes.
Fir Christmas trees, and it was a shortage going on like 2 years ago, and he called me like at the last minute.
Last minute.
Trying to get a tree, and pretty much around here in Western North Carolina, Fraser Fir is like very popular trees, so you have to kind of get them early because it's like a drought on trees. So we didn't have that many trees last year, so we ended up selling like real early. We usually sell all the way up to the day before Christmas, but the last 2 years we've been selling out probably like the 7th of December or something before the season even get deep into it.
So I'm from Tampa, Florida, and like where I'm from, there's like tree lots and tree stands there's everywhere, and it's all the trees that are grown here.
Yeah.
Right, they're all grown here. Like I used to work at Lowe's in Tampa, Florida, and like we'd unload trees, and they'd literally have tags from tree farms from cashers.
Yeah.
And so like moving here, I'd never bought a Christmas tree. I lived here almost 5 years. I'd never bought a Christmas tree because I live alone
Yeah.
on top of the mountain, no family, no wife or kids or anything. And that year, my mom hit me up and she was like, "Hey, we're coming up. We're going to come up for Christmas." And I was like, "Well, who's coming up?" She's like, "Everybody." She's like, "Your brother, your sister, all the nieces and nephews." It's like, "All right."
Yeah.
And then I was like, "Well, when are you guys coming?" She's like, "We're coming on Christmas Eve." And this was like a week before Christmas, maybe like 4 or 5 days before Christmas.
Yeah.
She's like, "We're coming on Christmas Eve." I'm like, "Oh, so Santa's coming to my house?" And she's like, "Santa is coming to your house."
Yeah.
I was like, "Do I need to get a Christmas tree?" She was like, "You need to get a Christmas tree."
Yeah.
And I seen your thing on Facebook, but they were like some older posts because
Yeah.
y'all had run out.
Uh-huh.
I hit you up, called. I remember talking to you on the phone, and he was like, "Well, I don't really have any more left. There's a couple over here." And then he was like, "Hey, do you have a chainsaw?" And I was like, "Yeah, I got a chainsaw." And he was like, "Oh, you could just go over here and cut
Yeah.
one down."
Yeah.
We never ended up connecting because I was
Yeah.
working my retail job or whatnot.
Yeah.
But then I started following the garden, Yellow Mountain Garden,
Yeah.
on Facebook, give them some love.
Yeah.
But I started following Yellow Mountain Garden, kind of like seeing what you were doing, and then I guess you kind of started watching NC Raw a
Yeah.
little bit, and here we are
There we
together.
go. And it's actually a year today that we added each other on Facebook.
That's right. We did have a little friendversary today.
Yeah, so it's kind of cool.
Timing was kind of wild on that one. So Malcolm Banks, owner of Yellow Mountain Garden, with your lovely wife.
Yes, my wife Hannah Moss Banks, she graduated from Clemson for horticulture, and that's my business partner. She started the reef operation that helped start this company actually like 6-7 years ago. She was actually making all these reefs by herself up here in the mountains, and then the operation got a little bigger. You know, when I got around, you know, we got more manpower. We can start going to cut our trees down and start harvesting the stuff and start making the reefs, you know, in a bigger volume and more sales and stuff like that. We start providing, you know, like baseball teams, different like clubs and stuff like that, do fundraisers and stuff like that. So really the Christmas tree played a big part of starting this company off, like, cause we really take our last savings and put it towards our labor, you know, like, so we have to save our money all year. You know that around here, like, things slow down, so we have to save our money all year going into Christmas tree season to pay all our employees to go out and harvest the Christmas trees, to make the wreaths and stuff like that, and, you know, manage it throughout the season for a whole month. Like, most people start, you know, Christmas the day after Thanksgiving, but we already started like after Halloween, you know? So it's kind of funny. So you like, even if you own a Christmas tree farm, like, you don't even want to put up a Christmas tree. You just like, oh man, I'm overwhelmed. Like, we put up our tree Christmas Eve, right? Yeah. So it was kind of funny though. But it's cool.
And you've grown into something so much more than just a tree farm, just selling Christmas trees.
Yeah. We started jumping more into the plants and the soap. So it kind of led to the next thing. Like everything lead to the next thing when you start a business. Like being a small business owner. We basically went to the soap. Like I say, my wife was making the soap for my feet because my feet was ugly and stuff. So I was embarrassed to go take my shoes off at a beach or something like that. So, we was doing that. And then once we started doing that, my wife, like I was saying, like we was already doing all the farming, like with the Christmas tree stuff. It led to the next thing, like gardening in the 20 feet, space backyard, and then you look up, 2 or 3 years later, now you got thousands of plants to take care of. It's a big responsibilities, but we lost a lot, on this journey, but we learned a lot on this journey. And basically, I feel like we got to this place where we at right now is because we actually learned for a lot of people that's older than us. And a lot of our Facebook friends, they older than us. We join groups too, like a lot of people out there, if you listening, join groups like homesteading groups, like groups that do the stuff you do, like farming groups, hiking groups, kayaking groups. You can join different type of groups on Facebook, and you can actually learn for somebody maybe got like 20, 30 years experience. And you can basically take those experience, and put it inside your business or what you want to do, your hobby, what you want to do before you get yourself hurt. And you can know how much money you're trying to invest and stuff like that too, as well.
How long have you personally been doing this? Like, where did it start for Malcolm Banks?
I think it started for me 5 years ago. We was moving into our new house. She was pregnant, and I was like, man, we need to start feeding ourselves, man. I'm tired of spending money. And what we was gonna buy, like baby food or something too, and we was like, nah, we can just grow the food and make baby food or something. So that's how it kind of really did.
It was kind of just like an idea, like, hey, let's,
Yeah, it was like an ideal, and it just took off, and I remember selling to my first client in Franklin. They drove all the way up the mountain, up on Yellow Mountain, because that's where we started off at. Because my wife is from Jodytown and Yellow Mountain, and I moved up in this area, and like 5 years ago. And once I sold to my first client down in Franklin, it started spreading. And I was like, wow, I actually made $20, and I just took some seeds and put it in some red cups, and then I started loving it. Though at the end of the day, it started making me feel better too. I found something to do with my time too, as well. Like I found myself like not like watching a lot of sports like I usually do, or playing a game, or I just started doing like, oh man, let me run over here and check up on this plant real quick. Oh, let me make sure it's the right temperature, like. And then you'll start studying it too. Like you'll be like, what is the perfect, temperature I need to make this plant grow better, So you'll start taking time like studying about the craft, like what you really like if you start getting into like agriculture.
You hit on like a couple of things that I think that are like extremely important, just like for like overall wealth and happiness. Is that number one, you started a business in a industry or a field that you're extremely interested in, right? And number two, what you said at the very beginning of a few minutes ago is that you talked about learning from your mistakes, right? And that I think that those two things right there are like the keys to a successful business. You're doing something you love, and you're focused on, like, you're not getting caught up on those little mistakes that you made. You're looking at it from a point of view of like, what can I learn from this experience and to do differently in order to be successful? The other thing that I noticed with you is that you're passionate about the community, not just this community, but also where you come from. I seen you making posts about doing like bicycle fundraisers for Christmas and things like that. Like you're active in being of service to your community.
Yeah, and we want to do that. Like, we want Yellow Mountain Garden to be part of the community, like, like the new Salvation Army or something, to be honest with you. Like, but we want to do it like in a way that people see us being productive inside of the community, not just like, oh, they raising the money to make sure we okay. You know, like we really want to go out there and try to solve the problem, because like a lot of people voice not getting heard because a lot of people just think money gonna solve it, you know, and sometimes money don't solve it all. Sometimes some people just want to be talked to, listened to. Like you'll be amazed. Sometimes when I'm like delivering trees, Christmas trees, like how I met you, you know, like, you know, I end up talking for 30 minutes and, you know, actually learning something from another person, or, you know, that's how I ended up here. I had to actually talk to somebody to end up here in this position, you know, like me being quiet, I wasn't actually going to end up here to actually get this internet interview online. And, you know, people, you got to really kind of speak up if you want it, you know, like if you really, really want it, you got to be determined every day to do it, and hang around people who are very determined too. You know, like the people that is not determined like you just got to cut them out because they just dead weight, you know, and carrying dead weight is just going to make hard times for you later on and difficult to get out of. So it's like if you around people that are successful, it's easy, because like when you're going down, or you feel like you're going down, they'll probably reach out to you and be like, hey, you going the right way. Just like continue doing this and doing this and doing that. You know, they can give you a few pointers because they actually been there, you know. So that's why I try to hang around people that are successful or always positive. You know, like everything ain't perfect, you know, like I can wake up and be in a bad mood, but I still wake up and be like, man, everything gonna be, you can ask my wife, I'll be like, nothing is not gonna kill my mode today. Like I'm gonna be happy no matter what, you know, even if I see something bad today. You know?
And that comes through in your videos.
Yeah.
Like I can clearly tell that like the person that I see on the videos is the authentic Malcolm Banks, and that's really how he is. Like he is, regardless of if you're, you know, in the grow house, you know, playing seeds, or you're out pulling weeds in the greenhouse, or whatever it is that you're doing. Like you have that thing that I don't know what it is, but you have that like persona.
Like
that it's life. Yeah, it's energy.
It's
that energy.
Yeah.
Have you always been a people person?
I think I always been a people person because like I grew up more of like I say, in the entertainment biz at first, and I actually like played sports in school, like running out pet rallies and stuff, being a show off. So it kind of made me like, oh man, I can like talk to everybody, I could communicate with everybody. But it was a time in school that like a lot of people know that to this day. They like, man, like you really, you know, was well spoken and, you know, stuff like that, but you always took everything serious. You know what I mean? Like you might have those people that are popular, but they don't take things serious. You know, I knew a lot of people looked up to me. Like to this day, I got like, I'm 31 years old, like grown people write me and be like, hey, I'm happy that you took up for me during school. Cause I used to see people like pick on them and stuff. And I knew I was a job, you know, that, you know, I play sports, everybody know who I am and stuff like that. But I always been like a people person for the right people. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, I always feel like I always been there to look out for the people that needed to be looked out. Yeah. And that always been me since I've been a kid. But as I got older on that journey, I had to let some people go, you know what I mean? But just because a lot of people, you know, they just not there yet. Sometimes you got to actually show them to make them understand, you know, and that's what kind of my journey is about. I'm trying to like show people that they can understand me and they can understand the rest of the people like this in the world, you know, that are determined and trying to help other people out. Because sometimes people not used to getting help. They'll just be like, you know, like don't want your help, or, you know, they'll try to abuse your help or like use it, you know, or whatever. But I feel like the way I come at people is like I can't use them. I can't do nothing just because he's giving it all straight to me, you know. He's not trying to make money off of me. He's trying to give me actually a career. He's trying to give me something that I can actually do something with.
You think that kind and compassionate approach that you have, do you think that was something that you just kind of like learned on your own, or was that something like values that your parents or family instilled in you as a young man?
A lot of it came with, because see, when I was young, my mom and dad didn't really raise me. So like when I was young, I moved to Atlanta kind of on my own on will. And my sister, she was in college. And I was 14. I moved out on my own. I moved in with my girlfriend. at 14 years old. So I kind of was raising myself as a kid already. And one of my best friends made his mom like end up adopting me. And when I moved to that area, it was like a rural black area. Like, you know, it kind of blew my mind because like everybody in the neighborhood had like $1.2 million houses, $2 million houses, and they was real estate agents. And they like blew my mind because like, no lie, I came from like the projects. I really never seen, you know, somebody in my type of color actually riding nice whips, having, you know, a good house and stuff like that. So it kind of blew my mind. And, you know, they kind of set me around the right people. My first boss was a guy named Carlos, and he owned like 5 gas stations, and he had like a landscape company. And I was like 14, so I used to have to, you know, get up in the summer and go, do yards and stuff like that. And then my adopted dad had a pressure washer company, and he was a real estate agent. So it was a lot of pressure right there, you know, just in that household, because all of us was like, you know, want to be entrepreneurs, you know what I mean? And to this day, my adopted mom, like she do real estate, you know, even my brother, you know, Chad, all of us, you know, everybody into something like hustling, you know, we all, like I was the kid that sold you some sneakers at school and stuff like that, you know, honey buns in the locker with, you know, I was that kid. And you know, like, that's why I say I'm like really the same person, but now I'm like, oh man, I really can help people out, you know, because like a lot of people need to learn how to save money. A lot of people need to learn how to grow. You know, it's like a lot of things I pick now to like actually help other people out, because I know that I came from nothing, you know, like my family had money a little bit too as well, but I was a hard-headed kid. I actually was like, man, I'm gonna just do what I want to do, and I'm gonna raise myself. Like I really did. Like, and I went out there and I did some bad stuff I got in trouble, got some felony charges and stupid stuff like that. But, you know, I actually bounced out of those situations. I didn't let it stop me because I was determined to do what I'm doing right now, like being a business owner, you know what I mean? Helping people out in the community. So I knew that person was always there, and I didn't let it disappear away from me. And that'll happen when you get around like negative people. You know?
You had that like that entrepreneurial type mentorship at an early age that taught you.
Yep.
Dude, that's pretty amazing, man. Yeah. That's pretty badass.
And, you know, like different jobs. I work for $2 washing cars, you know what I mean, in the cold, you know, and those different little bitty jobs, you know, make you humble, because like you'll wake up some days, you got a $200 order just off Facebook, or you got 5 or 6, 7 clients called you today to come look at their yards or their gutters or something in our landscape business. You know, like, I'm basically saying that the good days, we starting to see it. It took a long time, but it's about how what you put out there. Like, you know, like you can do a lot of good things, but you also got to do a lot of good things for the people around you to make them feel comfortable, like your employees, you know, family members and everything, because it can all get thrown off, because every day you waking up, you know, if I bring work home, it's going to stress my wife out, my kids out, everybody out. So, you know, you got to know how to like balance, you know, your work and your personal life.
It's just like, it's like a cycle, right? Like you have a bad day at work, you take it home, it affects your entire family, right? And then your daughter might go to school and have a bad day at school.
Exactly.
And then you go to work the next day and you put it back out on your employees, and then they go home and take it to their families. And it's just like, it's this spiraling out of control, this kind of negative momentum. And then who's to stop it? Well, you stop it every single day with that smile, bro. You know what I mean?
I love it. Because I feel like if you continue, like, everybody feel like that all day, it's just gonna make everybody tired.
And let me ask you this too, like when you mentioned your landscaping business and your pressure washing business, like I'm sure that it moves into the production, the level of production that you guys do, as far as, because I seen you doing videos of you laughing and playing music and messing around with the crew, and next thing you know, like 2 hours later, like the whole job's done. I mean, like they're more productive because they're having fun.
They're having fun. A lot of people love to work for us because like we young too as well, and a lot of people who work for me, I try to not like grow attached to them, but I try to at least give them some advice, you know, like, because you're not gonna just work for me and be good for me just at work. You need to be good outside of work too as well. Like that's one thing. Like I talk to everybody like this is how you save. This is how you do this. Like I be on all our employees all the time. This is how you file your taxes. Because a lot of people don't know this. You know, like if you work a corporate job, you know, they pretty much handle everything for you. You know what I mean? If you working like a independent contractor job or anything like that, you kind of need to know what's going on. You still need to know what's going on if you're working for a corporation job too as well. But, you know, I try to teach these people this stuff because you never know, like, they can stop working for me and start a business the next day, you know? So I'm trying to give them a gift too as well.
Yeah, that, and also like by having that type of like relationship with your employees, like you never know, but when you're having that conversation with them, one of them might say, hey, you know, Malcolm, I'm going through some stuff at home, or my wife's, you know, whatever. And it kind of opens that door, creating that level of trust for you guys to have an honest conversation. And then you can kind of like mentor them the way that your stepdad or whoever mentored you as a young man. You know what I mean? Like giving it all back.
Yeah, I give it all back. Like, it's weird though. It's not weird, but a lot of people really can't handle free game. That's what I call it. Because like a lot of people grew up off of lies. You know, this is how you work. This is how you're supposed to do it. It's really not like that. It should be like, you know, I'm telling you all this knowledge that actually help you. You know, I'm not about to do something that affect you, to hurt you and make you lazier. You know, it should be more of I'm gonna motivate you. I'm gonna give you more energy because like a lot of people, that's what's wrong with kids these days. I'm being honest, my kids are spoiled. Like, you know, like you can go back 20 years, like when me and you was born, like in the early 90s, in the 80s, a lot of average kids had to sleep in a room with their kids, brother or sister, you know, like we was talking earlier, no cell phones, or if you got a cell phone, you had to buy it on your own, you know. Nowadays, kids, like, they already expect it, you know, and we have a bunch of kids kind of really work for us. I know I'm a kid too. I'm still 31, but a lot of these people, they you know, kind of about my age, you know, but like, you know, they still like a kid too, but at the end of the day, it's like, you really got to grow up, man, because like a lot of people was doing a lot of responsibility stuff, you know, that was before them. That's how I try to put it. Like once you learn about like history, you'll be like, gosh, man, this person was 14 years old and took care of a whole family while I'm not doing it, you know? So that's what I look at, you know, just by me like studying like different history perspective from my family heritage and throughout time in history.
That's something that's important to you.
Yeah.
Is specifically your family history.
Yeah.
And you do a lot of like research and share a lot of that information.
Yeah.
You come from a lot of farmers, huh?
Yeah, a lot of farmers. Yeah, we came from a lot of farmers. They all started out in Tallahassee, Florida, Monticello, Florida, Valdosta, Georgia, Thomasville, Georgia. And it was around in the 1820. My great-great-grandma, her name was Kitty Banks, and my great-great-granddaddy was John Hadley Banks. And actually, they was an interracial couple back in the day. So it's really crazy. My family is actually, what I'm in now is an interracial couple, and it's starting off. And you know, how it just blows my mind because I'm like, how it's going to look 300 years from now. Yeah, you know, and it really blows my mind learning about it. Well, anyways, they did a lot of grading, farming, and it kind of like disappeared probably in the 50s and the 60s. A lot of people started moving up north to like Detroit and New York.
Kind of like
stuff.
The industrial
the industrial
stuff.
industry. It kind of changed everything around. So a lot of people got out of it. And long story short, we kind of lost the land. They built the prison on the land because a lot of people left the land down south and didn't really care about it no more. And one of my uncles like sold the land. Like I found out, like one of my great uncles sold the land because he didn't speak English. Like he was on Creole. He was Haitian.
Yeah.
And one of my granddad my granddad died and they passed the land over to his brother or whatever. He didn't really know too much, so he just like signed the land away. But you know, we got like a family graveyard where we all get buried at and stuff. Like we still got the land that everybody been buried on since the 1800s, so we can keep up with our family.
But when you were growing up, nobody in your immediate family was farming, right?
No, nobody
They had
was.
already.
Well, my grandma was like in '94. She died in '94. That's who used to kind of make me go out in the garden with her. Like, really, she had like a farm. My grandma had like a 2-acre. Like back in the days, like when I was growing up in the South, everybody had chicken coops. You had to go outside and get eggs, and you had to go get your food and go inside. And then my grandma had like a witch pot, like one of those big witch pots. She'll like cook up chicken in it, ream the chicken head, and you know, like I grew up like country like that, and you know, I think it really kind of started there too. Like that's why I say itty bits, a little bitty stuff was like hitting me when I was coming up. You know,
That's what I was getting at. Is like, do you think that like that those experiences with your grandma led you to where you are, or do you think that a lot of it was like kind of in your DNA? And like
it was. I feel like
subconsciously like there.
That's what I feel like. I feel like it was inbred. Like I feel like a lot of people, if you look at what you really do and you look back, somebody in your family was doing it like 50 years ago, 100 years ago, and you'll be amazed. It'll like blow your mind because like I just feel like, you know, it's proven fact. Like if somebody got anxiety, right, in the army, like say if somebody come back from the army and they got anxiety, they have kids from somebody, their kids might end up having anxiety. So, you know, it's proven fact. Like, you know, some people maybe be lazy because they maybe picked a lazy gene. Like, you know, I'm being honest. And you maybe have to like motivate them. You know, they maybe got a lot of common sense, and they maybe need somebody to tell them to just like bring it up out of them. You know.
Yeah. So you met your wife and you moved to the mountains. Is that what happened? Where'd y'all meet? Tell me a little bit of that. Tell me the love story, man.
I tell you the love stuff. Yeah, we met in Atlanta. I was doing. I used to have a company called Heat Promotion. See, I'm like a company guy, y'all.
This is before YouTube. I can't find any of your music on YouTube now, right?
No, you probably can though. Probably can. But I used to go by a name of Bankroll Banks. That was my rap name. And before even Bankroll, what's that other guy? Bankroll Fresh. Like he came out. Atlanta is small. Like Cam Newton, all these people, I grew up with them. Like we all grew up in the same neighborhood in the SWATs of Atlanta, like Southwest Atlanta, and Westlake High School, Riverwood High. Well, anyway, long story short, how I met this beautiful young lady is I invited her out to Atlanta. I used to like have like a booking company, like promo company, and I used to promote on Instagram. And you know, she was like, "Where the party at?" And I was like, "I'm doing the party. You need to come hang out with me." And so I invited her to hang out with me. And, you know, all my bosses, you know, like other bosses hanging around me and stuff, they was like, "Man, you know what? That's a good woman right there. You know, you don't need to be here." You know, like they knew that the nightlife wasn't my life no more. Like they was like, "Yo, just quit now." Like, and just focus on her, you know. And I feel like a lot of great things that happen for you because, you know, you already a great person. And, you know, and that's how we really ended up together. I ended up moving up to Cashers. I thought she was kidnapping me at first because we was driving across a creek to get to the house. Like, it was a one-bedroom cabin we used to stay in. And I was like, "Man, she trying to kill me up here, man." But anyway.
Was that her family's property up there?
Yeah, that was it? Yeah. So we, you know, I got up here and went to sleep for like about 2 weeks. Went to sleep for about 2 weeks. I guess partying so much in Atlanta. And then I loved it. I never left ever since. I gained a bunch of weight, put on about 30 pounds, had some kids, and started growing some stuff around here. Start, you know, going in the backwoods, and I kind of learned a lot of stuff for like hillbillies. Like I'm being honest, like I got a lot of hillbilly friends up here, and one of my hillbilly friends like died. His name was Jim Newcomer. He like taught me a lot of stuff. He taught me how to split wood, cut trees down. You know, like I love I love to get out and like explore people culture. Like if you drop me off in Indonesia right now, I like go around the neighborhood and start talking to the people. Like I love to do that, you know.
Well, those are skills that you're like kind of like have to have living in the place that you live, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So like, I mean, it's a whole nother world, right? And so here you are, in rural Western North Carolina in the mountains,
Yeah.
and you're really like taking this entrepreneurial kind of like seed that had been planted in you and like that background and running those businesses in Atlanta and kind of like growing up with that mindset.
Yeah.
And then like here you are in, I mean, rural North Carolina, with like limited options to like apply those skills, but you did something with it.
I did something with it. Yeah. And the reason why I love this area because it gave me time to be like, this is what you really like, and this is what you truly, this is the person you really is. You know, I hear a lot of people that are local. They be like, man, I don't like it here, but they really don't know this is like God. It's like, you know, this is the frontier. This is the last. You know, it's not. Like Atlanta used to be part of the Appalachian Mountain. They like basically blew it up and put a whole bunch of buildings, you know what I mean? And when I was growing up, it was country. It was farmland, like all the way up Georgia 400. And now it don't even look like it. It's just all malls and shopping plazas and stuff. So, you know, I feel like this area is good because like people don't really need to be in big cities. You know, like me and you, no offense, we go downtown right now. Somebody gonna be like, hey, let me get 50 cents, bro. Let me, like, everywhere you go. It don't bother me. Don't get me wrong. Like, I like that here because, like, everybody should feel safe. You know what I mean? Like, and here people work with each other, you know, like, everybody, like, oh, you got to, man, my friend do this. My friend do this. And you'll end up catching, like, more people working with you, or you'll end up going to work with other people to do projects and stuff, like to learn more things. You know, that's one thing I like about Ryan.
And like it's a lot of like the money will stay in the community.
Yes,
you know
exactly.
what I mean? Like you're shopping local. It's easy to shop local.
I was just
you're
telling
growing
her
your own food. Your neighbors, you know, has the chicken coop or whoever. Like, and it's easy. It's still like a part of that nostalgia.
Yeah.
That like our parents or our grandparents
how they
had
used to
access to.
And
Yeah.
when my dad came and visit, it blew his mind because he was like, wow, everybody live like granddad and grandma up here. Like y'all live like grandma and granddad like up here, man. Y'all got cast irons and you got your door wide open. You know, like y'all not really worried about too much of stuff. Like no, because everybody know each other around here, you know, and if something happened, you know, people gonna find out.
It gets
you know?
around.
It gets around. They're gonna put you in a newspaper. And that's one thing I was like, oh my gosh, when I got here, I was like, wow, they'll put you in a newspaper if you get in trouble, man. I bet I never do nothing crazy. I'm not gonna do nothing crazy, but gosh, man, like
back home they just put you on the internet. Over here they put you in the newspaper.
Yeah, they put you in the newspaper, so you really not gonna get in trouble at all. You like, hey, I ain't trying to be in the newspaper, man.
So like you started on the tree thing, and it started kind of like growing into something so much more than just Christmas trees.
Yeah.
How soon after you moved here did you start like the landscaping business and the pressure washing?
It was really kind of right away. It was right away because I was like, man, I'm an entrepreneur. Like I can't be staying home, like, basically like not doing too much or nothing, you know, like I got to think of something. So basically I got on the internet and started looking at stuff like, what can I do? I was like, wow, my, you know, when my adopted dad used to make me pressure wash when I get in trouble, you know, like I can still pressure wash, you know, I know how to pressure wash some houses. So I took my last $300 out of probably like $500 that I had and gave it to my wife, and we used her. We was we married then, babe? I don't think we. Yeah, we just got married, and I was like, hey, can you get me this pressure washer? We was at Walmart, and I got a cheap 2100 PSI pressure washer, and I just started going around to different real estate offices and like, hey man, I pressure wash. Hey, I pressure wash. Hey, I do this. Hey, I do that. So I landed like my first job, and after that, it was over with, you know. So it really took $300 when I got up here, you know, to really actually start, a business and get it going.
What about like when you started actually growing plants? Was it a lot of your knowledge and the things that you've learned over the last few years? Was it a lot? I'm assuming that a lot of it like was in this relationship, like conversations with each other.
Yeah.
And then trying things out on your own, kind of like.
Yeah, a lot of it coming from like a lot of knowledge come from like me and my wife, like we debate like big time.
Okay.
Like we're not gonna agree. Like me and her conversation, like if you hang around us, like we really talk like a business conference.
Yeah.
You know, like everything is up for debate. Like, no, this plant do this, and no, you can't sell this plant because of that. It's like, oh well, you need a, you know, it's all about like how to make each other better. You know, at the end of the day, like me and her argue, you know, like we not perfect and stuff, but we really argue just over like making each other better at business. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And sometimes you have to like swallow your pride to be like, well, she right or he right.
Yeah.
You know, because sometimes you don't really listen, you know, like because you really feel like you do know everything sometimes, and she maybe be looking from the side and like, hey, you really missing like this, and that's
Kind of refocuses you on
yeah,
what you should be
what I should be
focusing
doing.
on.
Yeah.
I got a bunch of those little Google Home little AI things in my house, right?
Yeah.
And I programmed the little thing on my app. So every time that me and my girlfriend are having a disagreement,
Yeah.
I say, "Hey Google, what do you think?" And then Google automatically responds, like, I agree with Steve." Like I have it programmed to respond to say that to me, just for situations like that.
Man. Oh man, that's
I haven't
hilarious.
had to use it yet, but it's programmed. It's ready to go. Like the next time something comes.
Yeah, man, that's I got to do something like that. Then I'm gonna program the kids to make sure I'm all right. Yeah, I'm all right all the time. But yeah, you know, a lot of knowledge gets sucked in, and then like I said, it came from like groups, like on Facebook. I started getting out there, meeting people. Like it's different people on my Facebook friend list, like Chris Hall. You got I got Sam, a friend named Sam of mine, got a hemp farm, you know, in Franklin, and it's a lot of people, you know, worldwide. I'm being honest, even in India. Like I wake up every day, I got messages from people from Africa, India. You know, they telling me they knowledge about how to grow a gladiolus flower in their area, and this is their techniques and stuff to use it. You know, it's like you have to listen to everybody because the internet is so big now. So it's like going to the library is good, but it's kind of pointless sometimes because it's like you can really like reach out, like get in a group that got like 80,000 people in it and just type like, hey guys, why this plant look like this or something. And everybody can give you their opinion, you know what I mean? And you can do it on Instagram. You can do it anywhere, you know? And basically that's what I feel like I sucked up a lot of knowledge so quick because I actually listened to the people instead of like listening to answer. you
Yeah.
know?
So you're like literally like throwing yourself in these
Yeah.
message boards almost,
Yeah.
and then like just absorbing that knowledge
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
applying it to your farm.
Implying it, yeah. And
While she oversaw everything that you were doing, all your
Yeah.
moves, and it could be critical of
Yeah.
a potential
Yeah.
mistake that's made.
yeah, oh yeah, we go through that all the time because sometimes nobody can never see your vision until you do it.
Yeah.
One thing, if you are an entrepreneur, like nobody, I don't care if it's your wife, I don't care if it's your mother, anybody, like they never gonna understand that vision, how you got it in your head until you do it. And see, one thing that started bringing people close to me this past year because like I started putting the vision out there, how to grow a plant, how to feed the pH system, how to prune back plants, how to prune the tomato. I started putting the vision out there because people wanted to grow it. You know, because people maybe look at TV and be like, oh my gosh, the world about to end. The lettuce is this, that. I really want to learn how to grow lettuce, but you know, like you need people like me to have these little videos out there because a lot of people maybe can't make it to an event to learn how to grow
Yeah.
this type stuff or
Take a class.
yeah,
or
take
for-
a
yeah.
class or something like that. So let me give it to them for free. You know, all the stuff that I read about, all the stuff I practiced, all the people that I met, you know, like a guy today, like I was saying, Chris Hall, like he showed me a great method of this old man been growing in a greenhouse in like Iowa or something like that. And he was using like the earth to heat the greenhouse.
Okay.
You know, like he was sitting like 6 foot of pipe down under the ground, and the ground was like heating the
Allowing
whole.
it to-
Yeah, and the whole greenhouse would be covered up with snow, but it have like fruit trees in there, vegetables,
Sure.
like everything, like
Yeah.
anything that you can think of, grapes, everything. And this guy been doing it for like over 40 years, you know, and I never knew that. I
That
was
is
like,
cool.
oh my gosh, man, that can save like so much money, you know,
Energy, yeah.
energy, you know.
Dude, that's amazing. That's pretty dope.
It blew my mind.
I'd like to look that up.
Yeah, I have to send you the link though.
I would totally like to look that up. You started doing like starters, starters like flowers,
Yeah.
things like that, and now you've ventured into houseplants.
Yeah.
Especially like throughout this winter, I've
Yeah.
seen a lot.
Yeah.
All your posts are about houseplants,
Houseplants.
and I saw some videos about how easy they are to grow. I seen you put a couple out in the yard
Yeah.
when it was like 12 degrees or 7
Yeah.
degrees or something for like 2
Yeah.
days.
Yeah, those calls hens and chicks. They basically like it's like different kinds. They got like a Fraser fir type kind. Then they got those more like an inside, you know, more like a cactus type kind. And then they succulents, you know, and all succulents don't go outside. Like the one we got here for you is an aloe plant. This more of an indoor type plant. And you put these more inside of your house for fresh air. And you can use it for like burns and stuff like that. It's a lot of stuff you can use it for, you know. And we got different plants for different stuff like asters. We got coneflowers. I think you can use coneflowers for herbs and stuff like that
Okay.
too as well. And we trying to get more into like quick crops right now, like microgreen and basil, stuff like that, you know, that take only 60 days to grow. And the reason why we started doing root balls is because the farming industry is not where it's at right now, as far as like the market, you know. Basically, by me saying that is it's better to grow starters just because you're not harvesting the plant, you know, like you're not about to take it through flowering. You're not about to take it to I gotta go send people out there in the field to pick it, you know. So we got into doing that actually help people too as well. We was like, well, we can help people too because a lot of people getting older and they maybe can't grow their plant
Or don't
you
have
know,
the experience.
or don't have the experience, you know, and they maybe want to support somebody local and they never seen somebody try to do it in a long time. Because back in the days, it was normal to drive around and see like one of those stores on the side of a gas station or anywhere, you know. Now it's not like that. It's like Walmart, Lowe's, Home Depot, you know. And we really trying to make Yellow Mountain Garden into that brand. Like we really trying to like be the next like Walmart. Like you can come get shovels that's handmade. You can get wheelbarrows that's handmade by somebody. You can get a kayak that's handmade, anything.
Kind of like the traditional, almost like hardware store or like
Yeah.
feed store kind of combo that
Exactly.
sells all those things.
But we want all stuff made from like local people, like not like manufactured by a big corporation.
Reinvesting it back into our community.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, that's a hell of a vision. And from just from like talking with you tonight and knowing you, learning about you tonight, you're a man of a vision. You're a man that follows through with your visions,
let's
bro.
do it. Yeah, we gonna do it. It's gonna happen, and you'll be there, bro, man. At the store when we open it up one day. Like it's gonna happen, man. I tell her all the time, like it's gonna happen. Like we're gonna be like Lowe's, like literally, but it's gonna be way better.
Yeah.
You know, you might walk in there and see a hydroponic in the middle of the store, the grocery shop right there. You might be able to get your herbs off for a raised bed in the middle of the store, you know.
When you're selecting like the plants that you're gonna grow and sell, how much are you studying or researching like nutritional value and kind of the role that plays when you're like offering those kinds of things to like the general public, like plants that you
Basically, like I had to learn all about the pH system, like before I got into gardening, because like some plants have different pH systems. You got tomatoes; they maybe want to be between a 6.5, a 6.0 pH system, and it's kind of weird. It's kind of like humans. A lot of people don't know humans got a pH system in their body too, as well. And plants have a pH system that they got to be, you know, level 2 to actually produce a vegetable or anything. And then you got like cold crops like kale and lettuce and microgreen, what I just told you about, they cabbage. Did I say cabbage? Like they don't even need a lot of pH system. You know, I'm basically saying they grow slow. They like a slow crop. So you basically can have like a 4.5 pH system. So you don't have to go out there and give it a bunch of nitrogen or give it a bunch of chicken poop or whatever you use organic, you know? And that's the thing, like people need to learn about different plants, you know? Like some people maybe be like, I fed it water, but you don't know. It maybe only needed water one time that week, you know?
Especially if you're growing outside, outdoors
Yeah.
here, and like in the kind of natural soil. Like we have some pretty rich soil that grows. I don't know nothing about these
Especially
topics.
if you buy the you got anything by the river and the creek, like around here, you don't really got to water your plants a lot.
I don't. I'm an extreme novice. Like basic, like back home in Florida, we would do like potted plants and things like that, tomatoes and peppers and stuff like that. And it's so dry.
You got to
water like crazy.
Yeah.
And up here, like I would literally, my first year here, this is actually, you mentioned chicken poop. My first year here, we moved here in February of 2015. So like right around 4 years ago, I moved here, and like 7 to 10 days later, we got hit with a big snowstorm.
Yeah.
And I was snowed in up on the top of Cullowhee Mountain. And it's kind of like we're there. I was stuck for probably 5 or 6 days. It was almost 2 feet of snow, something, big snowstorm. And I was kind of like getting a little like anxious to get out, you know? And so I was like reading some stuff online, and I was like, all right, I got a bunch of like, my grandpa saved a lot of like the old things when they were building the house. I had a bunch of scrap wood and things like that. I was like, oh man, I'm gonna build me a chicken coop.
Yeah.
while I'm here,
Something to do.
while I'm snowed in, I'm gonna build me a chicken coop.
See, that's what I told y'all people. You see what happened when you move around here?
Yeah, for real, dude. And so like I literally posted up in my garage, right? Because it was snowed in. I posted up in my garage, and I just built this a little small chicken coop, probably like 6 by 8 chicken coop with a little run underneath it and everything. And so that was like in February. I built it. I painted it in there. I had all the supplies. Like I just pieced it together. So went down to Tuckasegee Feed.
Yeah.
Got me 6 little chicks, you know, and watched them grow up. You know, fed them every day, let them graze all night. They go in, back in. 6-8 months later, however long, we're getting eggs. Yeah. Tons of eggs. I had 6 hens. Getting 2 or 3, 4 or 5 eggs every day. Like I couldn't give them away fast enough to my friends and stuff.
Exactly. Yeah.
And around the same time, I went to the farmer's market here in Silva, and I got some kale and some tomatoes from somebody over there. Just planted them in the yard. The things just grew like crazy because I'm at the top of the mountain. The soil is very fertile.
Perfect. Yeah.
We get enough rain. I don't have to water them. Nothing.
Well, that area, you want me to tell you, that area is history.
Is it?
I know the history of that area. Far as like, it's perfect for kale and cabbage.
Is it?
It's the cabbage capital, really, of this area. Her family started off on Cullowhee Mountain.
Yeah.
Like back in the days, they was all cabbage growers.
It grows. It grows just fast. Like just on its own. I didn't have to do nothing. Yeah. But so what? My girlfriend at the time, who moved here with me, she started feeding the chickens the tomato seeds.
Yeah.
She was like, somehow, I don't know how she figured out, but she would feed them scraps, and the chickens would always go and eat the seeds first.
Yeah.
So she like learned that the chickens love the tomato seeds. The chickens love the tomato seeds. And another year or so goes by, and I broke my leg in an accident, my foot, my ankle in an accident. And so I had to go back to Florida to heal. Me and her had split up. She had went her way, I had went my way. And I went back to Florida to heal up. I couldn't walk for 90 days. I had to have my foot in a cast for 90 days. I couldn't walk. Yeah. So I gave the chickens away to my buddy.
Yeah. So
I was like, hey, I can't do it. I don't have nothing I can do. I can't do nothing. So I went to Florida for a little over 90 days because I had to heal and then kind of learn about how to walk again and everything. Bro, I drove back up here in late August or early September. I pulled up in my yard, and inside that chicken coop was just tomato plants just going crazy. Like I'm talking about
Oh,
8 foot tall
man.
and like 6 foot around, just like
Yeah.
massive tomato plants, because the chickens had ate the
Yeah, and pooped
seeds,
it out.
shit it out, and then it just grew inside
Yeah.
inside of it, so it like overgrew my
Grew,
chicken coop, and it was
yeah.
just like, I mean, literally thousands of tomatoes. I was like,
Tomatoes.
dang, dude.
Yeah, that chicken poop, man, is real strong, man. That cage probably helped it out too, because
Had
the
a little
heat,
bit of shelter,
Yeah, and then
yeah.
it probably helped it up a little bit when it got caught between the wires or
Yeah,
whatever.
it was
you know,
crazy, dude.
kept
It was
up.
crazy. And then it regrew for like the next year, and I think one more year, and then just this past year, nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing grew, but it regrew like twice.
Yeah, that's nice, man. For real. I heard a lot of paths like for hikers in this area is kind of like that. Like a lot of people put seeds out there.
Okay, yeah,
and they
yeah.
usually kind of reproduce sometimes. And it's kind of crazy because you really kind of gotta either be a bird or like humans really can't like just go out and just how you just did it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
And it's like it was. That's probably the first time in history I ever heard something like that in my life, because I know like everybody got to go do something, but you might have something happen like that
Yeah.
before, like just because you got chicken poop there, that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Like it made that ground so rich,
Uh-huh.
like anything that touched the ground, it was like, I'm a grow, and you can probably put
Yeah.
anything there to this day. and
Yeah,
it
well, the
probably
coop's
grow.
still there, and so
Yeah.
like I thought about like moving it and then like
Yeah.
putting a little garden over there.
Yeah, put you a little raised bed over there.
I do have enough property. I mean, we're on like 5 acres, but like
Yeah.
3 of it's like the side of the
Wooded,
mountain
yeah.
in the woods.
Yeah.
But we do have about an acre and a half that's just open
Yeah.
land. And when I was a kid, my grandpa used to grow all kinds of stuff out there.
Yeah.
But again, like I'm the novice, I
Yeah.
grew some kale and I grew some tomatoes from the farmer's market. What would you suggest somebody like, where would somebody like myself start? Like what would be a good,
I always tell everybody to start off with the tomatoes.
Yeah.
For some reason, because everybody do love tomatoes.
I just eat it right
Yeah.
off the plant. Like, it's just
It
delicious.
does.
Yeah.
And
uh-huh.
then you can eat them fried, like when they green and stuff. And I feel like reason why I think like tomatoes are the most easiest plant to grow to me is because all they love is hot sun and water, and that's pretty easy. Any other plant, you kind of gotta like, oh man, let me make sure it got this certain amount of water. Oh, let me make sure, it's like so much stuff you gotta look into. Oh, this fungus on it, like you can kind of like go up to a tomato plant. Oh, this leaf is yellow. Let me pinch it off. Like
Yeah.
it's kind of easy, And I think growing potatoes or maybe tomatoes are the first 2 easiest things.
Cool, man. Cool. What about climate change? Do you pay
Man.
attention to
Oh, yeah,
any of that stuff
I'm-
at all?
Yeah, I think climate change is real. Just because, like, we can look at Antarctica right now. Like it's melting away, and then you got everything starting to rise, and then you got land, far as from Florida and from here is like getting destroyed just by major different type of hurricanes and things like that. And it's hurricane season all year now, and a lot of people are like, oh, it repeats in history. Yeah, it repeats in history because you got dumb humans maybe go do dumb stuff through all these events. And they're trying to work on climate change, basically like factories and like boats and stuff like that. They got like technology right now that actually create climate, like, and Vice actually put this worldwide, CBS put this worldwide. It's different type of machines that can actually go out here and freeze a whole lake.
Yeah.
And so we don't know like if our own people doing it, or we don't know if we doing it to ourselves now, because like they put it in our face like, hey, here goes some technology that we really put on boats to make it rain in the ocean. Like they really put it out there in our face now. Like, so a lot of people call it chemtrails, but it's not actually like chemtrails. It's like, I forgot the name for it. It's like I was doing some research on it, but it's real interesting. But anyway, like when you join all these different type of farming groups and stuff like that, they try to teach you about climate. Because like you got to be ready for it to actually grow in it, And I know climate change is real because I got a bunch of friends live in cold areas been actually growing all year round, you know. And then now we just got a big vortex hit half of our
Yeah.
United States, you know.
But then like a week later, it's 70 degrees
It did.
here.
Exactly.
I was driving through downtown Silver today. It was like 75 degrees in
Yeah.
early February, man.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know, like,
you know.
how can you deny it?
The last 3 years here, I feel like it's been so weird. It's been less snow and getting more rain. You know, it's
Very
like
wet.
we went drought for the 2 years, like no rain at all.
Like 2 years ago, there was fires everywhere
Yeah.
and drought. And then now this past year, we had like the wettest year.
But we kind of in a safe zone if basically climate change ever happen. You know, the water, you know, gonna start raising up. Like this area is kind of protected. Like we'll be at the beach basically pretty much.
Yeah.
If the water like actually like start moving up, you know. I kind of hate it for the people in Florida if it really exists, you know, because like they really on the island, you know, like it's beautiful down there and everything like that. But I just love it up here because I feel like it's safe. And then you actually get to see climate change at its prime here too, because we got 4 seasons here. So it's like a lot of bulbs that are in the ground being up like a month or 2 ago, you know, so they confused. And then you've been having all the dogwoods and the peach trees in this area too, been very confused the last 2 years. So that all, you know, deal with climate control.
Do you ever do any type of, outside of like growing, do you ever get into like natural plant-based foods that may grow in our climate? Like scavenging stuff? What's
No, I don't really get into it, but I let like my friends go hunt in my backyard for it, and they
Yeah.
like give it to me, you know. But they've really been trying to get me into it. See, one thing about being like like a small town urban farmer, a nursery farmer like I am, like I had to learn this the past 2 years. Just focus on the stuff that you feel like you know that you really know. Because if you start focusing on too much stuff, like it's like some guy that sit up and watch a bunch of conspiracy videos and he just like overget like wham, like, oh my gosh. And he maybe got a bunch of knowledge though, but it's just like crowded up in his head. And, you know, that's what I had to learn about gardening and farming. Like, okay, learn what you feel like that can really help people, and you gonna stick to that, you know, because if you don't stick to it, you're gonna be all over the place, and nobody ain't gonna stick with your movement because they like, man, this guy all over the place. He don't even know what he want to grow. He don't know what he want to do, you know. And you know, like the people that been watching me throughout the years, you know, they've been watching me take little steps to different little things. They like, oh, okay, he keep adding little stuff in there. And, you know, I just can't smack it and add it at one time. Everybody be wanting me to, like, just, boom, add it all at one time, sell all of this. No, you can't do that because, like, you know, that's why, you know, stock markets and stuff crash like that because, like, you got a bunch of companies maybe over-order stuff and they maybe can't sell it when it's
you're
time
a
to sell
family-owned
it.
business. You only have so much.
Yeah.
So much to go. I was getting at, like, I hear so much about ramps. Everybody around here is
Yeah, it's
looking for
big.
ramps, and
Yeah, it's big.
all my peeps out in Cherokee are always talking about it, but I never come
Yeah,
across
Ramp's
it.
big around here. Ginseng's big
Ginseng,
around here. What's the other one? Elderberry? Dandelions. It's a lot of popular stuff around here, native wise, and it's hard to come across because, to be honest, like you really got to be a native Indian to really kind of go find a lot of this stuff on sacred land, you know, and then a lot of people that own the land that got it, you can't go on it, you know, so it's like, you know, like we got a bunch of seeds of ginsengs growing and stuff like that, you know, for our retirement for 10 years, you know, like one of my great Facebook friends sent us like 1,000 seeds.
Oh, wow.
And we like just planting them, you know, and we're just gonna let them sit there, you know, and just see what it do. And it's just where we at. They grow pretty good in this area, like, you know, up here in the mountains. And it's very rare, you know, like when, what's the other thing that's popular too, that onion? What's the name of them onions?
That's the ramp.
Oh yeah,
ramps,
ramps. Yeah. Oh dang.
I've heard like they're delicious. I never.
Oh
had
no,
it.
no, they
Yeah.
delicious. They delicious. my native friend Jim gave me the ramps. You remember I replanted them? I need to hit that girl up and ask her, did they grow back in our yard? Because I had planted some like 4 years ago in our old yard.
Okay.
And like because somebody told me you can just like
Yeah.
throw them out there and they'll
they
just regrow.
yeah,
And
yeah.
they strong, man. And I love onions too, to be honest with you. But they're real sweet. You can eat them raw.
Yeah.
You know, they're real great. You know, and they, you know, like this. It look like a green onion, but they just more sweet.
I heard they grow all over, like
Yeah.
wild kind of almost around here.
Yeah, they
you know,
do.
if you know what you're looking for and where to go, and I
Yeah.
don't know.
If you you gotta be ready to hike in those woods, man.
Yeah.
Because I send some boys around my house, man. They be gone for like 12 hours. I be like, oh my gosh, like I don't have the patience for that, but gosh, that's something I really need to be learning anyway. But like my wife, she can take you in the woods and identify everything to survive off of, like pretty much, you know, and my daughter too, because my daughter have like different schooling. Like my wife teach her more about identifying plants. I teach her how to grow plants.
Yeah.
you
Well, I
know.
see her out there with you doing all the videos
Yeah.
and stuff, hacking your phone and doing
Yeah.
her own videos without you.
Yeah,
or
she
you
gonna
say-
be famous. You know, I got to get her right though. Like we trying to build the next generation that they can pass it on to the next generation instead of dying out like I was telling you
You're
about
like your
mine.
family,
Yeah.
like your family previously did, and then you've
Yeah.
brought it back.
Brought it back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now that's important for you to continue
to
that
continue.
on. And you talked about in private conversation, you talked about just like the generational difference in farmers and like how it's
Yeah.
kind of like an elders tend to,
Yeah.
especially like in our area, like there's not as many young farmers.
Yeah, it's not many young farmers. Like the
Uh-huh.
average farmer is 57 years old. Like, and a lot of younger people need to step up because, like, you got to think about it. This generation is about to start switching over, and you're gonna have to have somebody to provide your food. Because if you're not providing your food, guess who's gonna provide you? The government, and they're gonna feed you whatever they want to feed you. I'm not saying like, you know, the food is bad what they giving to you, but it's definitely gonna be better. The food gonna be better what you growing for yourself or the local person
Yeah.
actually growing. You know, because our government just gonna try to produce and manufacture a certain amount that we can handle. You know what I mean? Like far as like they can grow and how much we eat every day. You know how much food we waste. Like they growing towards that. And basically, they're gonna use all kind of chemicals to really make that production, you know, and it's not gonna be good for the people. So I think people need to learn how to grow, and especially right now, this is the time because like you got a lot of people losing food stamps, like with the government shut down right now. Like you got a bunch of elder people that maybe be on food stamps, and you know, but if everybody had a garden in their yard. Or that old person, you can walk in. A lot of these older people, they got so much space in their yard. You can walk up literally in their yard and be like, "Hey, I'll mow your grass and let me grow a garden." They're gonna say, "Yeah, do it." They're gonna be excited because why? They haven't seen that in decades. Like they'll be so happy because you know, even though they may be getting food stamps and stuff, like they're not gonna go spend their money a lot. You'll catch them bartering. It might be a guy that, "Oh, I hunt. Can y'all give me some squash? Can you give me some eggs?" You know, you'll catch yourself bartering. So you'll see, that's one thing I like this area too. Like you don't spend that much money living around here.
Yeah.
You know, like we spend money. We don't spend that much money in the summer. Why? Because we go to a bunch of flea markets and farmers markets, and everybody just trade. And you might leave with a big goodie sack, you know, at the end of the day. Like, man, I'm really good. I don't have to go nowhere and buy nothing. So that's the best thing about like growing stuff, actually going out there hunting and stuff like that, and making stuff with your hand, handmade stuff. You know, that's kind of cool. I think people need to bring it back, you know, because we all dependent on corporation to do it for us.
It's important for you to teach your kids that.
Yeah.
I'm curious about the therapeutic process behind all of this, and like what that provides for you, like for you in your life,
Yeah.
right? Specifically, like the whole the when they say like farm to table, I'm
Yeah.
talking about seed to table, right?
Yeah.
Like there's something kind of like in something kind of tribal in our like human DNA to
Yeah.
like get this satisfaction out of like whatever it is, building something and seeing
Yeah,
it to
and seeing it.
fruition,
Yeah.
or that planting those seeds that end up on your
Your
family's
family
table.
table or somebody else's
yeah,
table. You
yeah.
know, that's like a release. Like, you know, a lot of people need to actually get out there and start getting their hands dirty. It's like a big therapy, like actually getting your hands dirty, hearing nature, actually seeing blue clouds, actually looking at green. You know, it's not good to actually just sit up and stare at technology all day long, because all you're going to do is give yourself anxiety. Like you seeing other people problems. And when you actually outside focusing on nature, you really looking at problems that you walk about every day that didn't even know it exists. You know, like you didn't even pay attention to it at all, you know. And then once you start paying attention to it, you'll be like, man, this really matter. And it's other things in this earth, you know, that we should really be paying attention to, instead of, you know, paying attention to the wrong thing. You know, like, for instance, you know, like politicians, yeah, politicians can be good or bad, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it's like you got good and bad too. I'm basically saying, far as like agriculture, like all farmers ain't good farmers, you know, like they out to basically, you know, make money, you know what I mean, make billions of dollars, and they don't care about poison, you know, whole concept,
or the environmental impact
Yeah.
that they're making on.
they don't really care. So, you know, I feel like a lot of people need to learn about it too as well, because they might be going through some problems through all these chemicals that, you know, getting past that, you know, like nobody not really talking about, not speaking up on it. You know, it might be playing with their genetics, like how we were speaking earlier. It might be playing with their brain mentally, sending the wrong chemical balance to their brain. So, and I feel like organic is the way, because like it's actually proven fact, like hemp and stuff like that is actually good for like genetically, like to actually give you energy, a boost, you know, like though it replaced those cells that was like, oh, I'm so tired, oh, I'm hurting. Like it actually go fix that cell to actually make you go do something. And then you got like different type of brain food. You got different stuff like nuts. Like I got bad acid reflux, you know, so I can't eat hot stuff or coffee. So I have to eat nuts, you know, to keep my acid reflux down and stuff like that. And it's different type of, you know, vegetables for different stuff. Like, you know, I can't eat a tomato, but a tomato might be good for somebody else, you know, and I can't eat, you know, a steak, but that protein might be good for somebody else, you know, but I might have to pick another protein out, like a deer, you know, like something wild, very easy to chew up and swallow, you know. And that's one thing I had to find out, far as me being healthy, to get to being healthy. Like a lot of people vegan and stuff, I understand that, you know, like, you know, they love animals and stuff like that, but it's proven fact in society that people, you know, actually grew, you know, stuff and went and hunt for things too as well. You know what I mean? And yeah, like people farming cows and stuff. I know I may be getting off subject, but like farming cows and throwing them all and, you know, just piling them up, you know, that's wrong. Yeah, I know that's wrong. You know, they need to be in the field. You know what I mean? And eating grass-fed animals. And we need more farmers like that, not just like, you know, farmers like me that's trying to get like plant starters, flowers. We need more people like out here growing, you know, our chickens and stuff, instead of getting our chickens shipped all the way from South America or something, you know?
Did y'all do, a while back, did y'all do some kind of like retreats or something like that?
No.
Were you doing something?
Oh yeah, dang.
A long time ago?
Yeah,
Some
we
kinda-
did we canceled the event. We actually gonna do it this year. Like
What?
we canceled the event. We was like, man, we're gonna really build some volume up to let people know we are serious about it. Cause like we can actually end up getting vendors. We can end up getting more, you know, people to actually come out and support the event, because we trying to get people to live without power for one day. Because a lot of people, like, you know, I know I got to get up and look at my phone. I know I do, and I try my best not to do it, but I wish I can get the whole world just to focus one day to just be like, hey, we're not gonna use our phone. I'm actually talk to somebody. I'm actually learn something. You can probably go next door to your neighbor house and help them fix something if you maybe like took time to be like, hey, I'm not gonna watch this TV show on Netflix today. You know, like, and we all get stuck in that. Don't get me wrong, because it's put there in our face. You know, just like how this show is put in it. We put it in people's face to watch it, but it's on something positive. You know what I mean? That actually like gives people a motivation to actually get up and go do something or see something what somebody went through. But you know, that's just how I look at it.
I think it like one way to like handle it is to be intentional with your use, you know, like, and I'm just as guilty as you are, bro. But like if I'm going to pick up my device, it is to look up something specific, like to research something, to learn something, or to send a message to my girlfriend, or to like with intentionality, and not just sit there and like mindlessly scroll through nonsense after nonsense after nonsense. And like, I mean, we're all guilty of it, but like, it's important for us to like take that time and teach that to your kids, because like they're the ones that you mentioned at the beginning of the show expect it. And like, you know, you go to a restaurant, you sit down at Rendezvous and Cashers, and you look around, and every kid's got a device. The husband's on the phone, the wife's on the phone. Are they eating dinner together, or are they all just scrolling together? Yeah, they scrolling together. But you take your family out in your garden, man, and you're teaching your kids how to do these things, and you're like spending time with them, and you're active, and like you're a voice of the community as well. Exactly. You know, how do you transcend that to like others? Like, what is the next step to like share this message with Smoky Mountain High School or Blue Ridge School, or like the kids that don't, they're not hearing it because they're on the devices already. You know, like how do you share that?
So that's one reason we did get into kind of to like social media. You remember, Bay, I was like telling people like the only way we're gonna reach out is social media, because everybody, all the young generation, it's proven fact that the younger generation are gonna buy your albums. They're gonna buy everything, you know, like, because they don't have no responsibilities, you know. So it's like, so now we got to put more things in their face to make them responsible, you know. See, that's the thing. Like, we putting too much objects in their face to be not non-responsible. Like, we put, like, when me and you was growing up, like, we had a bunch of play toys, like Nickelodeon might come on, right? But they might have this toy to be like, take care of your ant farm. You know, it'll really be all type of different type of cool toys. Now you look at TV, I don't know, man. It's just be some weird stuff, man. But we don't own cable, so we really don't get to see commercials. Like, we, you know, kind of just do everything off a Fire Stick, and we watch documentaries. And then I make my kids kind of watch science channels. You know, they watch their little Disney stuff like that, but we have to, like, you know, keep an eye on some of the shows and stuff like that, because kids gonna be kids. You know, you can't really like take their whole life away from them, but you really got to kind of show them the other way too a little bit, to be like, oh yeah, my mom and dad told me that, you know. You know, just to remind them.
What are you doing some classes coming up at Yellow Mountain?
We doing a class on 420 Earth Day. We really trying to get people back out in the community and start planting. So we bringing everybody to our greenhouse. My wife is going to explain to people more about plant-based plants that you can use to eat with, to make stuff out with, to make soap with, different things, you know, what it's for, like native plants and stuff. And I'm going to show people more the entrepreneur to actually like how to start a plant business. And, you know, the same questions that you asked me, like your progress, you know, over the years, explain stuff to people like that. And then I'm going to show them at another perspective how to do something with your kid. Like, I'm going to bring my kids involved and make them do something.
Such a family-friendly environment, family-friendly event. How can people sign up, or how can people
they can just come visit us, Yellow Mountain Garden on Facebook, or you can just reach out to me, Malcolm Banks, or you can just hit me up, yellowmountaingarden@gmail.com, or you can call me, 828-331-7792. and we'll get you in there, and we letting the first 20 people in free, and we're gonna be giving away baskets too as well, for people can put it up inside, outside of their house, or you maybe want to give it to your grandma or something like that.
Super cool. I'm making plans to be there. I'll be there. Me and my girlfriend and her son. I think that's valuable to share with the community. What else do you guys do? Like, talk a little bit about like your involvement with like community-based organizations like farmers markets, things like that. Like, how do you get your seeds? Where do you start?
We get our
what do you
seeds
do?
from Baker's Creek Farm, and we get them some from. I had a friend had an independent seed company up in Detroit. His seed company called what's his seed company? Babe? No, not Baker's Creek. Yeah, Danny Seeds. Yeah, Project. Yeah, Project Purity Seed. I use his company at first. I'm sorry I don't know the name, but they very good seeds. I'm being honest, they are. And I started off with him. He was the first guy that took interest in me to be like, hey man, he sent me about 1,000 seeds. And I started making videos off the seeds and stuff, and he was just sending me seeds, and I guess I helped him got clients and stuff like that. They play it off best for everybody, but I appreciate that though. And I like to, support small business because, this guy really bagging up all these seeds with his little kids in the basement every day. Yeah. It's kind of cool.
Same sort of operation like you're doing with your family. In a couple weeks, sometime in March or so, I have a gentleman coming on to talk with us about CBD and cannabis. They're doing some research over on the reservation about the impacts on legalization and that sort of thing. And I know that's something that you're kind of interested in. Yeah. It's kind of like the hemp.
I had looked into it. We was going to get in it. We was going to start off with 2 acres. But the only reason we didn't get into it, if we do get into it, we want to get into it actually help somebody out. But how this farm bill is, I just can't, take the consequences if something really happened. It's just because the federal law. And once they get through with this farm bill in the middle of the year, it's going to be in the hands of the people. So it's going to really make it way better because a lot of people going to be able to manufacture it. You'll be going down the street and see CBD everywhere, and it's just how the government got the contracts up. I'm being honest, they charging $16, $24 a pound when you harvest. And then it got to be quality CBD. It got to be over 16% or something like that. So it's consequence, and it's no insurance. So it's I'm telling everybody the good things and the bad things. But the good thing is you can make cars out of it. We can build brick walls out of it. We can you can use it for medical use for kids who got anxiety. You can use it for people who are in wheelchairs, got back pain. It's a lot of things you can use it for. It's just we in a shortage of seeds, and the government is over all the seeds because nobody haven't grown the plant over in 100 years. So it's only a few companies that got it, and they charging $8,000 for the seeds to start off with. So once that change, I say by the year 2022, it'll probably be a great $1 billion industry. Once, it will go out all the people that are not really farmers. That's all, really.
Cool, man. I'm looking forward to seeing how that thing evolves and the impact that it makes. Before we wrap up, man, I do want to ask, you're always hiring.
Yeah.
You're always bringing people on for different projects. I saw you posting stuff, and I shared it up with our little groups, our recovery groups and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Somebody that, is looking to change their life.
Yeah.
Somebody who's found recovery like myself, that's looking to change their life, that's looking to learn, that's looking to have a mentor and somebody that can teach them things.
Yeah, for the next 3 or 4 months, if you
because the season's coming up, right?
The season coming up. If you want to come out and get your hands dirty, just hit me up twice a week. If you're trying to do community service hours or something like that, or and your probation officer looking for you to work for somebody with a legit business, and you trying to get your hands dirty and learn about agriculture, learn about how to actually grow stuff on the grow lights and use different spectrums and stuff like that. And there's so much stuff in this video we didn't get to cover, but we're gonna come back again, like, and we're gonna explain all this stuff to y'all again, you know, and it's gonna be like an update, you know, based off everything that we did this summer.
Well, you know what I'd like to do next time? I'd like to come to the greenhouse.
Yeah, that'd
and
be
let's
dope.
just set this up right in the greenhouse.
Yeah.
And let's just do it from inside there.
Yeah, that'd
like
be dope.
as soon as, like, maybe like right before the event in April or something like
Yeah.
that, when it starts warming up and
Yeah.
everything and it's nice out. I would love to just
Yeah.
come and, like, obviously number one, check it out, but number
Yeah.
two, like, show
That'd
some
be
of this,
dope.
show some of this stuff.
Yeah,
you know
we
what
can
I mean?
show everybody, you know, and all this started, like I told everybody, all of this started with spending my last dollar. You know, taking my last piece of dollar and be like, I'm gonna feed my family.
Yeah.
With this last piece of dollars that I got to make something happen. And I'm basically saying, don't never let nobody say you can't do nothing. Don't stop chasing your dream, and just make your dream come true. That's all it is. Like, if you want to chase dreams, make it come true. And you know, people will start helping you out when they see you want that dream to come true, and them doors are just open for you, and God will just take you to the next level.
With all the chaos of running a business, being a family man, of running the garden, and just doing all those things, the chaos of life, right? How does Malcolm Banks stay so positive, man? How's Malcolm Banks always smiling?
I get this question all the time. Maybe because I feel like I've been through so many hard times than this. Every time I be at this point of life when I think it's all bad, I be like, you know what, man? This ain't worse than this when you went through this and you didn't have this, you know? So I just tell myself that, you know, every time. And it really worked, because, like, you got to be grateful for what you have before you won't have it. You know, it'll be gone in a blink of an eye. Like, a cop can be in prison the next day. You know, a fireman can be in prison the next day. Anybody, that judge can be in prison the next day. Their life can always change. You know, and that's far as for people who going through stuff bad too. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, you can be having it all going good and it can just go down. You can be going good and it all can go up, because you can change all that just by putting the right people in your life and the right energy in your life. And like I say, if y'all trying to get out there and learn about agriculture, learn about greenhouse, visit us at Yellow Mountain Garden, and we can show y'all, like, how to transplant, and you can come one back with nature how it used to be thousands of years ago. Like, more people actually used to, you know, a lot of people call it pagan and stuff like that, but it's really not. Like, people been worshiping nature for like thousands of years. Like, you'll be amazed, man. Like, if you just go around the different parts of the world, people still praise nature, you know. And I feel like that's one thing we disconnected from, because that's God. Like, the trees is God. Like, even we're made of the tree bark, you know. So it's like a lot of trees. You know, you have to talk to these things. They'll talk back to you once you build a relationship with them, just like you talk to God. God will talk back to you if you build a relationship with him.
Yeah. Malcolm Banks, you're an inspiration, brother. And I am
I appreciate it.
super excited to see Yellow Mountain Garden grow and be an asset in this community.
Oh, yeah, buddy.
I'm going to continue to promote all y'all stuff and all your work.
I appreciate it.
And I appreciate you coming over.
Yeah.
I feel privileged to have met both of you guys and consider you guys friends. So,
yep. Y'all make sure y'all visit yellowmountaingarden.com, and y'all make sure y'all check us out 420. We're going to come out there and maybe do a podcast live, and everybody going to get to see the greenhouse. And it's off of Pennish Bridge and Franklin Road and off of Georgia Road. So if anybody want to come, just hit me up for the directions and I can send it to you.
yellowmountaingarden.com.
Yep.
And you're on Yellow Mountain Garden on Facebook.
Yep.
Order some plants, check out his stuff.
Yep.
I'm going to definitely come to the 420 event, and I would love to do a podcast from your little greenhouse and kind of kick it.
Yeah, let's kick it. Earth Day, man.
Earth Day.
Earth Day. Everybody come out and get your hands dirty, man.
Love it, bro. Thanks,
right.
dude. You're badass, bro.
All right.